Hi guys, how are you? I hope everyone is having an amazing Thursday. I hope everyone is having an amazing week so far. And I hope everyone is ready to jump into part 5 of the series we've been doing by Footsteps of Murder. And if you remember, part 4, we were going over everything that was going on when she was getting ready to leave, Shanann, getting ready to leave for Arizona, and how Chris had just suddenly seemed like he was happy about the baby, agreed to couples counseling, agreed to go away with her on the weekend, and we were questioning if that was genuine, or if he was just trying to get her to leave so he could spend time with Nichol Kessinger. So I am definitely wanting to get into this next one and the next one after that. And there's like 6 more of these. So if you want to keep doing them, we will. But definitely we are going to do the next part because that is the most important. This one, it actually has a lot of good information in it, especially towards the end. We are starting to see what's going on the night before. And it's just it gets creepy. But all right, guys, if you are a returning subscriber or a member, you guys already know. Thank you so much for all the love and support you show my channel. If you guys are not subscribed yet, stick around, take a chance, and consider subscribing, as I always say. And definitely, please leave a like for the video. All right, so let's get into our part 5 by Footsteps of Murder. All right, let's get into it.
Friday, August 10th, 2018. Shanann on this evening had been out for a meal and attending a Thrive event in Arizona.
3.
Saturday, August 11th, 2018. 12:40 a.m. Chris texted Kessinger saying, "Hope you had a great night, beautiful. Miss you. Get home safe. Sweet dreams, my sexy empanada."
Well, I guess that tells us what we were wondering about in the last part of this series, and that was if Chris was really being genuine with Shanann when he was saying that he was willing to actually go to therapy, work on the marriage, that he was happy about having a boy, but he continues his relationship with Nichol all the way while she's gone. So, as a lot of you commented, I think you might be right about he just told her whatever he had to get her to leave.
2:15 a.m. Kessinger called Chris and held a 1-minute conversation. Her call registered in Thornton. 2:17 a.m. Kessinger called Chris again and held a 13-minute conversation. Her friend Danielle Haydell is over for the weekend. If she is staying with Kessinger, does she hear the phone calls? Does she know about Chris? On Saturday, August 11th, Chris said Bella got into bed with him that morning and they waited for Celeste to wake up. 6:58 a.m. Jeremy Lindstrom texted Chris saying, "Would you rather go with me to the Broncos?" Chris lied and said he would like to, but since it's related to my job, they will ask questions if I don't go. 7:02 a.m. Shanann texted Chris saying, "Good morning, baby. Are the girls up?" Chris replied, "Good morning. They are watching cartoons in bed." Shanann then described the thunderstorms the night before in Arizona. Minutes later Shanann asked, "Do you want the NFL package for the fall?" She next searched DirecTV for information about that sports package. Chris replied that he wanted to see if the Fire Stick, a streaming flash drive, can save them from spending the money. Shanann said, "Okay, baby." 9:45 a.m., although not found in Chris's phone. Shanann asked him, "Have you talked to Bella about if we have a boy?" Chris said, "Not yet," and added, "She said when the baby comes out, she will pretend it's a girl." Shanann indicated she was laughing and said, "Oh my God, I love her."
Aww.
Chris said he hung out at the house with Bella and Celeste, and played outside before it got too hot. He and the girls played inside in their playroom. He said he was going to go to Costco that day, but Shanann said she would do it when she got back. 10:05 a.m., and Meadows texts Shanann saying, "I was also thinking, maybe we should have you talk to one of my lenders." What do you think? 11:18 a.m., Chris searched Google for trails and hot springs near Aspen.
Quick question. You guys think that he actually planned on going to Aspen that weekend with Shanann? Or do you think that that was just an underlying plan? Maybe for him and Nichol? Maybe just some kind of weird alibi he was trying to set? Like, we had plans, we were working on our marriage, we were going to go this weekend, and now she just left? Along those lines? What do you guys think?
12:30 p.m., Chris texts Shanann saying, Jen, McKenna, and Kylie coming to watch the girls for a few hours while I go to that Rockies game. I have never known if Jen and Kylie did actually babysit with McKenna this night. Shanann asked him to ensure they don't feed Celeste anything she can't eat. She also said, Will you lock my office? Chris replied, Definitely. 1:17 p.m., Kessinger searched Google for man I'm having affair with says he will leave his wife. 1:49 p.m., Chris searched Google for Toyota dealerships nearby. 1:51 p.m., Jim called Kessinger and held a 3-minute conversation. Her phone registers in Thornton. 2:10 p.m., Kessinger called Chris and held a 28-minute conversation. She is still in Thornton. 3:36 p.m. Kessinger called her mom and held a 1-minute conversation. Still in Thornton. 3:53 p.m., Kessinger's sister Stephanie called her and held a 22-minute conversation. Still in Thornton. At 4:02 p.m., Shanann texted and asked Chris what time he was leaving for the game. Chris replied, between 4:30 and 5 p.m. At 4:25 p.m., Jennifer Lindstrom said she dropped her daughter McKenna off at the Watts home at 4:25 p.m. to babysit the girls. At 4:34 p.m., Chris called a local Papa John's pizza store. After listening to McKenna's interview, I hear what sounds like McKenna saying Nikki asked what kind of pizza I would like. Have a listen, what do you think she says?
So Saturday your mom drops you off. What time?
4:30.
Was anybody at the house?
Chris and his 2 daughters.
Okay. What are his daughters' names?
Celeste and Bella.
How old's Celeste?
She's 3 and Bella is 4.
Anybody else at the house besides those 3?
No.
So tell me what happens. Your mom drops you off. Does your mom come in with you?
No.
You just get out
Yeah.
and go in by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go into the house. Chris, Celeste, and Bella are there? All right. And does Chris tell you what he wants you to do, or
Yeah.
tell me what Chris tells you?
I walked in and then he asked what kind of pizza I liked because he was gonna order me and the girls pizza for dinner. So he got on the phone and ordered them pizza. He gave them their medicine before he left because he didn't want me to have to worry about that. And they were already in their pajamas, and he said I just have to play with them, and then at 7 o'clock lay them down to go to bed. I walked in and then he asked what kind of pizza I liked because he was gonna order me and the girls pizza for dinner. I walked in and then he asked what kind of pizza I liked because he was gonna order me and the girls pizza for dinner.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about Nikki in that. It just sounded like he asked me. But I do want to note that the babysitter did say that when she babysat this time, that the house was in disarray. It was not organized and beautiful like Shanann always kept it. But by the morning of the murders, when the police go there, the house is now immaculate again. All cleaned up. Did Chris do that, or did someone else?
At 4:45 p.m., Chris leaves the house. In his letters to Sherilyn Cadle he said, The last time I saw Nikki was August 11th, when we went out to eat. I had gotten a babysitter for the night. Nikki talked about different apartments she had found for me that would be big enough for me and the kids. She then talked about how after I found my own place we could move at a slower pace and treat our relationship as a normal relationship. She said this because we saw each other every night possible in June and July. I didn't talk to her again until August 12th, after the birthday party I took my kids to. Chris told detectives that he went to a Rockies game Saturday night, with Cody Bourgeois and Sam LaRue. Kessinger in her interview said on this day she was looking for apartments for Chris. 5:30 p.m., Chris drove to Kessinger's home in the Lexus. Kessinger said he came to her home about 5:30 p.m. 5:59 p.m., Shanann texted McKenna saying, "Hey love, this is Shanann. How are the girls?" McKenna replied, "They are doing great." CC ate 3 slices of pizza. Shanann thanked McKenna for watching the girls and asked if she needs anything. "Just ask." Chris never checked in with McKenna to see how the girls were doing, or whether McKenna needed anything.
Of course not.
6:33 p.m., Chris searched Google for Lazy Dog on 120th Avenue. 7 p.m., Chris searched Google for restaurants near 120th Avenue, to include Rusty Bucket. 7:20 p.m., Shanann asked McKenna if the girls went to bed yet. McKenna replied, "They are still awake. They are just watching TV and they said they don't want to go to bed yet." Shanann said, "I'd put them to bed by 8. Chris showed you what to do. Make sure they go potty before they go to bed and Celeste gets diaper." McKenna ensured this would all occur. 7:50 p.m., McKenna said Shanann called her that evening at 7:50 p.m. to check on the children. Shanann also inquired with McKenna if she would be able to watch her children on Friday, August 17th, as she and Chris were going to take a trip to Aspen, Colorado. 8 p.m., Chris paid for the meal at Lazy Dog around this time.
Now, important to note, I know a lot of you already know my theory on this, but they went to 2 different Lazy Dogs that night, which are quite a bit of distance from each other. So why not just eat at the one? I strongly believe that they met up with Jim that night at the Lazy Dog. Don't know if it was just Jim or if it was somebody else, but Chris himself says that if he had never went to the Lazy Dog that night, that none of this would have happened. So it really seems to me like something was planned. Some plans were set out. And Chris spent about 4 hours out of his home and getting Nichol and eating at the Lazy Dog. What did he do for the rest of that time?
9:12 p.m., Shanann searched Google for the score of the Rockies game as well as what time Rockies game gets over. 10 p.m., Chris told Jeremy Lindstrom that he would be home in 20 minutes. 10:04 p.m., having concluded her evening tryst with Chris, Kessinger searched the internet on topics like Chris Watts, Shanann Watts, Ronnie Watts, and 2825 Saratoga Trail.
But they expect us to believe that Nichol never at all looked at Shanann's Facebook or knew she was pregnant. Bull.
10:04 p.m., Josh Rosenberg texted Chris saying, "Hey bro, I know it's late but are you still awake?" Chris said, "Headed home from Rocky's game." 10:05 p.m. Josh replied, "Oh nice. Drive safe. When you aren't driving let me know. I have a question." 10:10 p.m., Jennifer Lindstrom arrives to pick daughter McKenna up. Chris was not yet home so she sat outside in her car. 10:15 p.m., Shanann called Chris and held a 3-minute conversation. Chris said he talked to Shanann on the way home from the game to ask her how much he should pay McKenna. He stopped at the ATM inside the Conoco gas station next to his house so he had money to pay McKenna. Chris said, "Shall I pay her $50 or $60? Shanann said $50, we don't want to overpay her. This is the video from the Conoco gas station.
Wow. Look how much weight Chris has lost for Nichol. So sad. He should have done it for himself, his own wife, maybe.
10:19 p.m., Shanann searched Google and the internet for Lazy Dog menu, lazy dog restaurant and bar, find a location. How she come to learn so quickly of Chris's dinner expense is not reflected in her phone.
Well, we do know now that she got a bank alert how much was spent. And there's no way possible that one meal, beers or whatever, would have cost $60-something.
But I suspect an alert from their bank or credit
Yeah.
company. Shanann and Nichol Atkinson were discussing the price of the meal at the Lazy Dog. Shanann knew it was more money than just for one person. Shanann felt clear that Chris was having an affair due to the charge of the meal. Cassie Rosenberg and Nichol Atkinson feared Chris was having an affair but didn't discuss it with Shanann. An hour after the charge alert, Chris was still not home, but the place was only 15 minutes from the house. Josh Rosenberg said Cassie often FaceTimed him while at the conference and he often saw the group of girls and chatted with them. On Saturday night, the 11th of August, 2018, Shanann learned of a charge that she was concerned about, given that Chris was supposedly at a Rockies game with friends from work. Shanann was visibly upset and crying when discussing this in Arizona. Shanann said she did not understand what had changed. She said that she loved Chris and did not know why he did not love her. She said that Chris wanted to separate and move on, saying he could not do this anymore. The group, to include Josh, talked to Shanann about her strength and assured her it would not be the end as she had the kids and a baby on the way. Shanann expressed that she wanted to be strong for her kids and show them that you can get through life and was positive about it. She
Good
wanted to at
mama.
least try counseling for her kids' sake even if it did not work between her and Chris. According to Nichol Atkinson, Shanann knew when Chris got home from the Lazy Dog because her security system tells her when he opens the door. 10:28 p.m., Chris called Shanann and held a 3-minute conversation. Immediately afterwards, Shanann sent Chris a message saying, "Oh, save your receipt so we can write it off." 10:30 p.m., Chris arrived back home. Jennifer Lindstrom said Chris pulled into the garage and she doesn't believe he knew she was in the car. Jennifer said Chris was driving the white Lexus SUV. Chris said when he came home he said he didn't see anyone in the car. He thinks the car was dropped off so McKenna could get home. He paid McKenna $50 for babysitting. 10:31 p.m., Chris called Kessinger and held a 51-minute conversation. Her phone registers in Thornton. 10:33 p.m., Shanann posted a picture of Celeste on her Facebook account. 10:35 p.m. McKenna leaves. So was McKenna around Chris when he called Kessinger? 11:20 and 49 seconds p.m.
Okay, start paying attention. These are some things that could be of value.
Lights show on Nate's surveillance camera outside the Watts house. Just over a minute later the call between Chris and Kessinger ended. 11:43 p.m., lights show again outside Watts' house.
Now, who do you think? Why are lights stopping at the Watts house at all these times? Just
11:59 p.m., Shanann went to sleep. She sleeps for 6 hours, 21 minutes. Her iPhone shows us this. Lauren Arnold said the last time she spoke to Shanann was on Saturday, August 11, 2018. Lauren said their phone conversation was short because Shanann was in Arizona for a Thrive conference. She said they spoke about having a gender reveal party for Shanann's baby. Lauren said they had plans to get together later in the week to go over these plans. Barb Kivett, Kessinger's mom, paid Kessinger on Venmo. Her message said, "Love you." Kessinger in interview said, herself and Chris went to the Lazy Dog Bar at 120th and Federal in Westminster, Colorado and chose to leave this location and go to another Lazy Dog Bar at 144th Avenue and I-25 in Erie, Colorado. They drove Kessinger's Toyota 4Runner to both locations. After having a meal at the second Lazy Dog they returned to Kessinger's home. Chris left her home in his Lexus. He left to be home by 10. He text messaged her later that night and said he had stopped on the way home to get cash to pay the babysitter. Chris did not text her, he called her on the phone at 10:31 p.m. Kessinger recalled that Chris always paid for their meals when they were out on dates. He had always paid for everything using Anadarko gift cards. Kessinger was not certain how Chris got the gift cards but believes they were given to him by Anadarko as a bonus or for being safe on the job. She believed Chris had been using the gift cards to hide their relationship from Shanann. Kessinger noticed at the Lazy Dog in Erie, Chris paid for their meal with a baby blue credit card. During this time Chris also made it clear to Kessinger that he was filing for divorce from Shanann. Kessinger thought it was unusual for Chris to pay with a credit card as he has always used the gift cards. She believed Chris had nothing to hide anymore from Shanann, so he was not concerned with paying with a credit card that Shanann may be able to see transactions on.
Yeah, I believe that she might have had a reason to think that after their conversation at Lazy Dog. Who knows what was talked about, but I think plans were made that night.
During their dinner on Saturday they discussed his fitness. Chris lost 13 pounds during the time they were dating. She had no concerns that he was using any other drugs. Chris mentioned to her on Saturday during their dinner that he had shut down his Facebook account. Chris said he did not use the account. She asked if he had shut the account down all the way by sending a request to Facebook, and Chris said he did not know about this requirement. Kessinger said, "Chris told me he didn't have any extra dollar for a deposit on an apartment. I told him that apartments nowadays were so expensive for rent that the damage deposits have to be fairly cheap because otherwise people can't afford moving costs." Chris said that every time he got paid he just watched his bank account dwindle down. Chris said he wished he had a way to prevent his disposable income from being spent. I told him that it is possible to divide paychecks into multiple bank accounts, but that if he considered doing that he would need to make sure he was responsible and that his mortgage and kids and his standard monthly bills were covered first. I told him that if Shanann ever wanted child support he would still be required by law to show proof of that income even if it was in a second account. I suggested that if he decided to do that perhaps just contribute a small amount that wouldn't impact his current living situation, but would give him a cushion for the first month's bills when he transitioned to an apartment.
Aw, isn't Nicole so sweet? She's just helping him out and planning everything for him. She's just such a nice person, isn't she?
But that was his discretion. Chris and Kessinger again discussed the apartment and Kessinger said Chris did not seem interested. She thought that Chris may have already known something she didn't. She said his mood had changed from their prior conversation about the apartment. Shanann's friend Karen Epps said Shanann was quiet all weekend in Arizona. Sunday, August 12, 2018. On Sunday, Bella woke up and went into Cece's room and woke her up. Chris and the girls went downstairs and watched Bubble Guppies. 6:21 a.m., Shanann woke up. 7:32 a.m., not found in Chris's phone, Shanann sent him a message saying, "Good morning, baby. Love you." 7.
Why do you think Chris deleted all these messages? Do you think he was worried Nicole might see them and that he was actually talking to Shanann in a nice way over this weekend? Because he seemed to have deleted most of the messages from Shanann, and she kept them on her phone. Is the only reason why we have them.
7:58 a.m., Shanann texted Addie Maloney saying, "I got a lot of work to do today and this week. Next weekend I'm gonna go MIA, while away with Chris, in Aspen." 8:09 a.m., Shanann asked Chris how the girls were. Chris said they were good and drinking a shake. Shanann said, "Miss you guys. Give them kisses for me." Chris said he would. Shanann told him to have a great day. Chris reciprocated. 8:09 a.m., Chris texts Josh Rosenberg saying, "What's up, bro? Sorry I passed out once I got home." More lies from Chris. 8:11 a.m., Josh replied, "It's all good, man. No worries. I know the girls talk, but I wanted to make sure that you were really okay with us crashing your house if need be, lol." 8:12 a.m., Chris said, "Yeah, that's cool, man." 8:15 a.m., Josh replied, "I just know that 5 people invading life is a lot and want you to know that neither of us would be upset if either of you guys didn't want that." 8:18 a.m., Chris said, "LOL, it's totally cool with us, man." 8:22 a.m., Josh replied, I really appreciate it. I'm pumped for the move. Would have liked to have the job with you, but True Value has a lot of room for growth. 8:25 a.m., Chris said. Yeah, that's awesome, man. When do you think you will be making the move up here? 8:26 a.m., Josh replied, I'm taking an educated guess at 1 month. Give or take a little.
So here we are. Again, what do you think about this? Because he is either not sure what he's going to do yet, or he is totally leading this guy on to think he has a place to stay, and he is making plans, got a job lined up. Him and his wife think they have a place to stay once they get to Colorado. Chris is saying, yes, you can come stay with us, no problem. So if he is totally just leading this guy on to think that he can move his family and children out there when he knows what's about to happen, that's just cruel. It really is. And it just shows you how much of a liar he really is.
8:34 a.m., Chris said. Copy that. That Rockies game was crazy. Down 2-0 bottom 9 and get a 3-run walk-off. 8:35 a.m., Josh replied. I saw highlights on ESPN. What a great moment to be at. I've only been to 2 moments like that. 8:35 a.m., Shanann texted Addie Maloney saying, I need to do better with my calendar. I don't block out family time, I fill in family time. He, Chris, said to me last night it has nothing to do with business though. Addie said she thought this could have been the issue and insisted Shanann make more time for the family. Shanann said, No, I agree. No, I think it's itty bitty things. I sometimes can be bitchy, and he gets that side of me. I know I tend to make him feel like he isn't able to do things because I have control issues. He said the other night he wishes I'd just let him hang up a picture. 8:46 a.m., Kessinger called Chris and held a 30-minute conversation. Her call registered in Thornton. 9 a.m., Shanann's calendar had entry titled Talk scheduled for this date and time. 9:04 a.m., Shanann continued with Addie saying, I always have, but he also never calls me out. He never fights me, just goes with flow. He and I know I like things done a certain way, but I never thought about how that may make him feel as a man. I don't even know if this is what's bothering him. He still hasn't said. I'm praying he wrote me a letter like I asked, since he can express himself better in a letter than talking. I'm the pusher and he's the withdrawer. He has strengths that are my weaknesses and vice versa. The lack of communication isn't on my part. I can be better at how I communicate. But he doesn't communicate. I say things sometimes just to get him to react in any way, since he doesn't react, and that's not good. It's not even all the time. 99% of the time we are perfectly fine. And we have never ever fought. Literally over anything serious. I have fought with him over stupid shit like not doing something I asked in a timely manner. I did belittle him without realizing it with his parents. Told him he needed to find his balls and protect his family.
Now, this is the reason a lot of people say Shanann was bossy, bitchy, overbearing, etc. I think she had to take charge. Chris wasn't going to, and she had to. He put her in that position, and she obviously ran the family pretty well and took care of everything. Maybe the finances weren't the best, but she was a damn good mom and a damn good wife.
Chris is submissive when his parents are involved. Addie said that is Chris's disposition and added, he would kill for you. Shanann said. Told him in a letter I would for him, and there has to be mutual respect. I did respect his parents enough to deal with them. His mom just didn't, and when alone with me jabs at me. It's not fair. I mean, fuck, I agreed to spend 5 weeks with both parents, that's hell for me. But I did it for him and kids. He was never close to anyone but his dad. I, being the family person, tried bringing them closer and it backfired. I need to feel like he will stand up for us faced with difficult situations. That's where he flaws. Or weakness. My weakness is I have an Italian temper that can't hold back when pissed. I'm a fixer and I want to talk this out and he just wants to work it out in his head. I've just been acting kind of normal. Morning baby, love you, etc., but not overdoing it. Overdoing it is what we do. We are so affectionate, can't stop touching each other, etc., not just the sex, just the touch. 9:16 a.m., Chris texts Josh Rosenberg saying, "It was epic." 9:26 a.m. Chris's Apple Watch logs on router. 9:29 a.m. Chris's Apple Watch logs on router again. 9:57 a.m. Shanann asked Chris, "Can you do me a favor today if you have time? Can you get the girls' backpacks ready for tomorrow with blankets and spare clothes, please? If not, I can do it in the AM," Chris said he would. Chris and the girls went to Target for a birthday present and bought a dinosaur car. 10:20 a.m. Chris's work phone logs on router log, he is at home. 10:32 a.m. Shanann asked Chris to send her some pictures of the girls, saying, "I miss them." Chris sends these pictures of the girls. "The girls were having cold pizza for lunch. I find this a bit early for lunch." 10:45 a.m. Chris searched Google for Mount Colima. He preserved an image of the volcano spewing lava and smoke. 10:51 a.m. Kessinger texts Charlotte Nelson, her friend, saying, "Been kinda hanging out with a guy recently. Keeping it a secret. Dude loves to eat pussy. Never met a man who does till now. I just let it happen lol." 10:56 a.m. Charlotte said, "When I met David, he would literally finger me and then ask me to suck his fingers. I don't taste bad. He was a freak. Now he just is." 10:56 a.m. Charlotte replied, "Where did you meet this man? So you mean it's not just a given that your man should go down? LOL." 11 a.m. Shanann had to check out their hotel room. Shanann and Nichol Atkinson sat in the hotel lobby after this as Shanann wasn't feeling too good. She hadn't been eating or drinking normally all weekend. Shanann tried to change her flight to get home earlier, but it was going to be $300 more. Karen Epps saw Shanann in the hotel lobby and Shanann told her she would see her tomorrow, dropping kids at school. Chris said he put the girls down early for a nap because Jeremy Lindstrom's son was having his 4th birthday party. 11:13 a.m. Shanann asked Chris if the girls were taking a nap. Chris said they were just laying down. Shanann said, "If you have time before they wake and want to call me back, I'd love to talk to you." Chris said okay, but he never did. 11:15 a.m. Kessinger continues texting Charlotte saying, "I don't know man. Sean never ate me out my one time." 11:17 a.m. Charlotte replied, "I don't think it's you man. Some guys are lame with that stuff." 11:17 a.m. Kessinger said, "Did you try the pillow doggy style thing yet? Feel like every dude I meet has kids these days and if they don't, they have commitment issues or some bullshit like Sean." 11:30 a.m. Kessinger called Jim and held a 1-minute conversation. 12:15 p.m. Chris's personal cell phone logs on router, he is at home. 12:17 p.m. This is perhaps the last image of Shanann taken in life. 12:24 p.m. Chris texted Kessinger saying, "They have the Dead Sea Scrolls at the museum, but it's sold out." 12:30 p.m. Chris said he woke the girls up from their nap around 12:30 p.m. and went to Jeremy Lindstrom's house. 12:45 p.m. Kessinger texted Chris saying, "No, you can't buy the scrolls. Lols dude, the Dead Sea Scrolls are some of the oldest, most important writing in the world." 1 p.m. Over 0.2 miles. Around 220 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. 1 p.m. Around 480 steps recorded on Shanann's personal phone. 1:05 p.m. Charlotte continues texting Kessinger saying, "Yeah, what's with these guys? LOL." 1:06 p.m. Didn't try the pillow thing yet. Does it need to be a specific pillow? LOL. 1:09 p.m. Charlotte said. What's the dude's name? Kids are cute, Meng. It's a package deal though. 1:15 p.m., Chris arrived at Jeremy Lindstrom's house for birthday party. Jennifer said that when they arrived at the birthday party, Celeste and Bella had their hair in ponytails. Chris was unable to do this a few weeks prior, shown in the video Shanann posted.
That's odd. Wonder if he just was able to do it this time, or if someone had helped
Chris
him.
said Bella wanted so bad some of the cake at the birthday party. Chris told her you can't because Cece can't have it, and Bella said okay. Chris said while the other kids were having cake he took Bella and Cece away and gave them an ice pole each.
Now, this has been brought up a lot, I know, but why in the world, if you are planning on murdering your entire family and your babies, are you going to be worried about what they eat? Why are you going to be worried and taking care of them and making sure that their feelings aren't hurt about the cake and that they don't eat the cake? And why not just let them dive on in? I mean, you're going to murder them anyway, right?
1:21 p.m. Charlotte texts Kessinger. That's awesome, Meng. 1:22 p.m., Kessinger said. The fact he takes care of his kids is a good thing, I think. He's all about his kids. 1:25 p.m., Charlotte replied. That's cool, how old are they? 1:30 p.m., Chris took photographs of the girls playing in the distance in a backyard near a small pool at the Lindstroms' birthday party. He sent Shanann pictures and videos of the girls from the party. 1:38 p.m., Shanann sends a list of counselors to Cassie Rosenberg. 1:45 p.m., Charlotte texts Kessinger saying, how old is he? Kessinger said, 33 I think. 1:49 p.m., Charlotte replied, well, look at me, I love Dave, any vows I had at that time would have been real. The vows I have now for David are also real. 1:51 p.m., Kessinger said, I just feel like I will always be second place, like he's been there done that. It's early though, we will see. He is very kind to me though.
See, she's already showing jealousy over the children. In my opinion, that's what that means.
And he works out, so he's super sexy. 1:55 p.m., Charlotte replied. You wanna go back to high school then? Second is not bad. It's better, Meng. It's after the first fuck up a person learns what they really want in a human being. 1:55 p.m., Kessinger said. I love that. 1:58 p.m., Kessinger said. Don't tell nobody. I haven't made up my mind on him yet. Kessinger admits to sending a photo of Chris Watts to Charlotte Nelson during a text conversation. During that same conversation, comments were made by Kessinger that Chris has children. I believe it's this conversation, and this is when she sent Charlotte a picture of Chris. Charlotte replied, he's handsome, huh? I guess that's a good way to look at it. Kessinger said, like he seems too good to be true. 2 p.m., over 0.2 miles. Around 210 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. 2 p.m., around 220 steps recorded on Shanann's personal phone. 2 p.m., Charlotte replied, he's very handsome. And you look really happy. 2:04 p.m., Kessinger said. He's half Cherokee, so he's all brown too, lol. 2:04 p.m., Charlotte replied. He's kinda short. Kessinger said. But he's jacked. 2:08 p.m., Charlotte replied. As much as I'm mad at David right now, at least he does it, lol. 2:30 p.m., Lauren Arnold, Shanann's friend, said she sent a Facebook message to Shanann on Sunday, August 12, 2018, asking what time she would be back, but Shanann did not respond. 2:46 p.m., Ronnie, Chris's dad, asked if Chris and the girls were doing well. Chris said, yes. Ronnie replied, okay, we love you guys. 2:49 p.m., Kessinger texts Charlotte saying, haha, yeah, It's the best sex I've ever had. I'm hooked. 2:58 p.m., Kessinger said. I think he really likes me. 3 p.m., over 0.2 miles. Around 280 steps recorded on Chris's work phone. 3 p.m., very little steps on Shanann's personal phone. 3:14 p.m., Chris text Kessinger saying, "Nice. That sounds like a good time. I haven't seen an IMAX in a while. Sounds like you're having a fun day with the folks. I'm still at the birthday party. Kids are soaked from water balloons." Kessinger in interview said she spent Sunday at the museum with her family. 3:30 p.m., McKenna stated in interview. Sunday, August 12, 2018, Chris, Celeste and Bella came to her home for a birthday party for her younger brother. Celeste and Bella are friends of her younger brother. McKenna recalled Chris and his daughters left her home at about 3:30 p.m. 3:56 p.m., Shanann asked Chris if the girls had fun at the party. Chris replied, "They were still there, and they were having fun." Shanann said, "Good, I'm glad. Okay, love you." Chris did not respond. At 4 p.m., under 0.4 miles. Around 350 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. At 4 p.m., very little steps recorded on Shanann's personal phone. At 4:07 p.m., Chris text Kessinger saying, "Been pounding fruit and had a whole jar of asparagus. He didn't smoke any barbecue this time. He did hot dogs, so I did the fruit and veggies." At 4:30 p.m., Chris said they stayed at Jeremy's house from 1:15 p.m. until 4:30 to 5 p.m. He said when they got home, he gave Bella and Cece a shower because they had sand on them. He got the girls out of the shower, dried them off, put lotion on them, and got their pajamas on.
Again, if you're going to murder your children in less than 24 hours, why the care? Why the bath? Why the lotion? Doesn't make sense to me.
Cece had on a pink nightgown with a drawing of a bird on it and a nighttime diaper. Bella had on a multicolored nightgown that said "Believe" or had a unicorn on it. They went downstairs and the girls wanted more cold pizza for dinner. At 4:56 p.m., Chris searched Google for pericutine, a volcano. 5 p.m., very little walking distance. Around 20 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. 5 p.m., around 400 steps recorded on Shanann's personal phone. 5 p.m., Shanann and friends went to dinner at Thirsty Lion Gastropub in Arizona at approximately 5 p.m. Prior to Addie Maloney dropping Shanann and her friend Nicole Atkinson off at the airport to fly home to Denver. Shanann ate a chicken Caesar salad and drank water with lemon, and part of some crab dip and Brussels sprout appetizers. Shanann confided in Cindy DeRossett that her and Chris were having difficulties. She told her when she came home from North Carolina Chris was distant, not returning her phone calls. She said she asked Chris if he still loved her and he didn't answer. She said Chris doesn't touch her anymore, and Chris was non-confrontational and had his head in the sand especially when it came to the kids. She said Chris told her it would be nice if he could hang a picture on the wall without her permission. Shanann texted Chris and told him about the power being out in Arizona from the dust storms. She told him her friends, Addie and Cindy, paid for her dinner. 5:06 p.m., Chris told Cody Roberts, co-worker, "I have the whip checks for the service 6:29. I'm gonna go straight out there from my house in the morning. I will look at that 3:19 as well and run the 11:29 if you want." 5:07 p.m., Chris called Sandy Rusek, Shanann's mom, on FaceTime and held a nearly 12-minute conversation. Frank Rusek, Shanann's dad, said he spoke with Chris, and Bella said something about her mommy coming home and he told her not until late. Said that he spoke to Chris on Sunday night, the 12th of August, 18, on FaceTime. Frank said that Bella was eating cold pizza and some candy. Chris said he FaceTimed Shanann's parents with the girls. Bella and Cece sat on their little couches, and he got them snacks. He gave Cece vanilla wafers and Bella had some chips. The girls ended up swapping their snacks. He brushed the girls' teeth, had them use the potty, and put them in bed. The girls will lay in bed, but they don't normally get out of bed after their rain machines are on and the lights are out. Bella came out twice that time just 'cause she knew. Like, Shanann was coming home. Bella came out of her room and asked if Shanann was home yet. He told Bella Shanann would be there when she woke up. Cece never came out of her room after he put her to bed. 5:20 p.m., Cody Roberts replied. I was going to head out there first thing tomorrow to check out the 319. Did Troy talk to you about what I had found out there Friday afternoon? 5:23 p.m., Chris replied. Yep. I was standing right next to him lol. I was giving him a fire stick to look at. I can go out there though. No sense in both of us going out there lol. Those messages were on Chris's work phone. 5:24 p.m., Kessinger called Jim, her friend, and held a 2-minute conversation. 5:26 p.m., Chris searched Google for the Dead Sea Scrolls. 6 p.m., no movement on Chris's work phone from 6 p.m. August 12 to 5 a.m. August 13. 6 p.m., very little walking distance. Around 60 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. 6 p.m., around 150 steps recorded on Shanann's personal phone. 6:06 p.m., Chris searched the internet for Blueberry's nutrition. 6:09 p.m., Cody responded saying, All right, sounds good man, I appreciate it. I think I still have a couple cones left out there. I can let you know in the morning. And let me know if you find anything at the 319. If not, we may pressure test that BP line and see if it's leaking underground. 6:12 p.m., Chris said. Copy that. Both messages on Chris's work phone. 6:22 p.m., Cindy DeRossett posted to Facebook saying, Cancelled flights call for more yummy Arizona grub bin. I love these beauties. 6:44 p.m., a photo was created in Chris's image file documenting the temperature setting in the refrigerator. 6:47 p.m., a photo of 4 chicken breast on a barbecue grill was created in Chris's image file.
Is this when they had chicken and carrots, him and Nichol? I believe it is. I believe he cooked out for them. So does that mean Nichol met the girls, or were they sleeping? I really would hope so.
7 p.m., very little walking distance. Around 30 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. 7 p.m., around 220 steps recorded on Shanann's personal phone. 7 p.m., Addie Maloney and Cindy DeRossett took Shanann and Nichol Atkinson to the airport after dinner. 7 p.m., Betty, Chris and Shanann's next-door neighbor, offered information about a barbecue they had around 7 p.m. on Sunday evening, the 12th of August 18, and never heard or saw Bella or Celeste during that time. She did see Chris a couple times as he was cooking something on the grill, but the girls never appeared when he walked outside.
That's odd.
In his letters to Sherilyn Cadle, Chris said, August 12th, when I finished putting the girls to bed, I walked away and said, That's the last time I'm going to be tucking my babies in. I knew what was going to happen the day before and I did nothing to stop it. I was
Sounds to me like somebody that knows something is going to happen, knows he has already made plans with someone, or more than just one person, I don't know, and did nothing to change it, did nothing to stop the plans from happening. Doesn't sound like a plan that he had on his own to me.
numb to the entire world. I had literally taken my kids to a birthday party, played with water balloons. Had an amazing time, sung songs all the way home, gave them a bath and shower, ate dinner, read bedtime stories and sang bedtime songs, and still nothing registered. When Shanann had to be somewhere, I always enjoyed taking the girls places or playing outside because it was our opportunity to bond, and still, even the night before, I wouldn't stop myself from what I knew would occur the next morning. 7:46 p.m., Shanann texted Chris saying, Hey honey, kids in bed? And asked for pictures. Chris replied, Bella just back in bed. Shanann said. They must be exhausted. Chris resent the images from earlier in the day, at the dinner table. He added this image taken later in the day at the birthday party. The last known photograph of Bella in life. 7:54 p.m., Shanann told Chris the power went out during dinner with Cindy and Addie before in the airport. She sent a photograph of the darkened restaurant. Shanann commented on the photographs Chris just sent saying, "Great job on Bella's hair." Chris replied, "That sucks." "Yeah," she cooperated. Shanann said, "Really bad dust storm, rain, thunder and lightning." She said Cindy bought their dinner and said, "Praying it doesn't cancel flight." Addie's flight was cancelled this morning. 8 p.m., under 0.2 miles. Around 160 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. 8 p.m., around 990 steps recorded on Shanann's phone. 8:20 p.m., Shanann called Chris and held a 9-minute conversation. Revealing how their talk went, immediately after this call she told Chris, "Sorry I bothered you. I just wanted to talk to you." 8.
Does that mean maybe the phone conversation didn't go so well? That's what I'm thinking.
31 p.m., Shanann texted Addie Maloney saying, "You can call Chris about Jack. He's up." 8:31 p.m., Shanann commented on Cindy DeRossett's post saying, "Best way to leave Arizona with you, and Addie and loss of power while eating dinner." 8:33 p.m., Shanann texted Chris saying, "Thank you for taking good care of the kids this weekend so I can learn and work, I appreciate it." 8:36 p.m., Addie Maloney texts Shanann, explaining the accompanying text was what Shanann should say to Chris. "Can you please tell me something, because just like you, I'm in my head. I really trying to fix things and make them better, and this is making me crazy. I know that you need time. I want to give you what you're asking for and respect your space. It's so hard for me in so many ways, but I'm trying. This place that I'm in my head, is not a good place. It is not healthy for me, or Nico. I really want to help you, I really want to feel like I know what I did or didn't do to get to this place. I'm going crazy in my head to figure it out. I know I can't fix this by myself. And we are going to have to work together. If I could do anything to make this get better, what would it be?" Discovery claims Shanann sent Addie that text, but it was not sent by Shanann, it was sent to Shanann by Addie. 8:43 p.m., Shanann texted Addie saying, "Do I text him that now?" 8:44 p.m., Shanann texted Chris saying, "Tried calling you to give you update. Was starting to board and they announced that our crew isn't here yet and it's going to be a minimum of an hour before they are here." 8:45 p.m., Shanann received a calendar alert, flight, WN6149 from PHX to DEN. 8:45 p.m., Chris returned a missed call to Addie Maloney and held a 16-minute conversation. Moments later he told Shanann, "You're welcome. I just talked to Addie." In their follow-up messages it is clear Chris offered Addie mechanical advice on a car. 8:45 p.m., Shanann's flight home is delayed. Shanann was anxious to get home to Chris, to talk with him and sort the marriage problems out. She was nervous she wasn't going to get home that evening due to flight problems. 9 p.m., under 0.2 miles. Around 130 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. 9 p.m., around 120 steps recorded on Shanann's phone. 9 o'clock and 45 seconds p.m., Chris's personal phone logs on their home router. Why not prior to this if he was home? 9:09 p.m., Shanann called Chris. Her call was unanswered. 9:09 p.m., Shanann asked Chris, "What kind of vegetables do you want with dinner tomorrow?" Chris replied, "Green beans." Shanann said she would buy them tomorrow at Costco along with other items. Shanann soon told Chris that she was ready to come home, she said, "I'm ready for bed."
I'm sure she was exhausted. She is pregnant, exhausted. She misses her beautiful baby girls and just wants everything to be okay. She is coming home with the hope for this weekend, for them going to Aspen. She is just praying that everything is going to work out for her family.
9:20 p.m., Shanann boarded her delayed flight. Continuation of group text between Cassie Rosenberg, Nichol Atkinson, and Shanann. 9:21 p.m., Nichol said, "Our flight is delayed." Shanann said, "Crying emojis." Cassie said, "Because of the monsoon." Shanann said, "Our plane was here but crew was delayed because of storm." Cassie said, "Makes sense. It's a blessing. Do you know how kind the delay is?" Nichol said, "We are boarding now." Cassie said, "Okay. Please message me so I know you landed home safely. It won't wake me." Nichol said, "Will do." 9:28 p.m., Chris called Kessinger and held a 111-minute conversation. Her phone registered in Thornton. This call won't end until 11:19 p.m. Kessinger in interview said she was not certain what they talked about during this call. She recalled hearing a television on during the call. She said there was not a television in the basement, so she did not know where he was and why he was watching television when it was so late. She said this is odd behavior for him. She recalled thinking Chris may have been waiting up for Shanann to get home.
I think that 111-minute conversation went a lot like, you need to stick with this plan, Chris. This is all alleged. This is my opinion, but you need to stick with the plan if you want to be with me. If this is what we got to do, and whoever else is involved, we've already got this planned. But this is my opinion. You guys let me know what you think. But I'm pretty sure she was talking him into it. She was desperate at this time, thinking that she may lose him. If nothing happens, she may lose him back to his wife. And she probably would have.
During this call, Chris told Kessinger he had to go to the field, not the office, on Monday morning. He said he had to go check on a valve where there was a release. He said he would not see her in the morning. She said this is not uncommon, but typically, he goes to the office.
Note, this is Nicole's words. This is not in text messages.
She said usually 3 to 4 days a week he goes to the office. 9:29 p.m., Shanann made an unanswered call to Chris. 9:37 and 25 seconds p.m., Nate's security camera shows car lights outside the Watts home.
Who is that?
9:45 and 46 seconds p.m., Nate's security camera showing outside the Watts home.
Who is that?
10 p.m., very little walking distance. Around 50 steps recorded on Chris's personal phone. 10 p.m., around 280 steps recorded on Shanann's personal phone. 10:08 p.m., Shanann texted Chris saying, "Finally on plane and about to take off. Thank God. Prayers for safe flight. Love you." 10:27 p.m., flight takes off. Shanann is on the flight to Denver, so note a little movement on her personal phone until around 1 a.m. 11:20 and 36 seconds p.m., Chris's personal phone logs on their home router. I wonder, was Chris outside when the car lights were seen and just gone back in the house? 11:21 p.m., Chris texts Shanann saying, "Holy crap. Sorry, I passed out on the couch. That's gonna be late."
That's a lie. He was talking to Nicole. But we are about to wrap this one up. Let's finish it real quick.
11:25 and 20 seconds p.m., Nate's security camera again shows lights outside the Watts house.
So we're at 11:25. This is after the 111-minute phone call, and we have another car pulling up to the Watts residence. Wonder who this could be. But this is the end of this video. The next one I feel is going to be very interesting. We are getting down to the day. The very, very tragic day that I wish we all I think everybody wishes that we could have done something. Knock some sense into that POS of Chris. All right, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I am enjoying going through it with you. And just when I watch the next one, I'm going to wait for you guys though. So hopefully it'll be out tomorrow. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And tomorrow is Friday. Yay. All right, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Peace and love.